answers so many questions about how to live life. I absolutely love this book. If you don't have it, you must get it. Absolutely get it. All right, so today we are starting our work on page, hang on one second, on page 138. And we will be completing this section of the book today. So I'm really excited, and I'm also really excited about the fact that it is an extremely juicy section. All right, let's get started. The heading on page 138 is Sex, Art, Religion, and Monogamy. And the questionnaire here is talking about, I'll read a little snippet of it. So regardless of what society says I should or shouldn't do in terms of my sexual choices, it feels to me that this fusion of energies is more intense and more delicious with one person. So this questionnaire is basically stating that he feels that monogamy is a better way to go. And we, of course, are more interested in how Abraham is responding to it. Hi, Tamika. Good to see you. Heather, good to see you. All right. So Abraham says that it's not about monogamy or polygamy. It is about coming into alignment with Source first by virtue of your positive attention, not a conversation about the merits of one lover versus many. So what Abraham is basically saying that engaging in sexual activity with more than one person is not going to bring you joy unless you are already at a place of joy. So don't use sexual activity as a tool to try and get up there, because then it's going to be not as satisfying as it would be if you were already high on the emotional scale. All right, hang on. That's better. Okay. So then the questionnaire says, in my own mind, I use the term life partner instead of monogamy to describe what I'm looking for. And Abraham's answer to that is life partner for this moment, for just now. Hi, Yolanda. Good to see you. So Abraham says life partner for this moment can be a good idea. And the most sustaining commitment, so it's not about your commitment to one person, because you cannot make an everlasting commitment to one person. However, you can make a commitment to your own alignment. The thing about this is that when you are committed to your own alignment and you find a way by which you can maintain your balance high on the emotional scale, what that does is that now you are a lover. So yes, you can remain in a perpetual relationship with one person because you are finding things to appreciate. And so it's not about whether polygamy is a better way to do things or monogamy is a better way to do things. It's about alignment. Alignment, as Abraham screams at us sometimes. Okay. So they're saying on page 139, of course, those who are consistently in alignment with Source within them would continue to inspire harmony and love from their partner. You see, is exactly what I was talking about just now. That if you approach everyone and everything from this place on the emotional scale because that's who you are, then staying with one person is not hard. The only reason staying with one person becomes hard is when you are not able to maintain your alignment. How many of us have experienced that? Right? I sure have. I sure have. I've experienced getting out of a relationship and realizing, now that I understand the teachings of Abraham, looking back, that none of that needed to have happened, because had I not been perpetually low on the emotional scale, none of that needed to happen. Because ultimately speaking, we have control. We do create our own reality. All right. So now I'm just reading right from the bottom of the page, 139. Many people who are worried about the loss of love enter into marital agreements that say, until death do us part, because they are trying to protect themselves from unwanted things. But when you do that, when you come from that place of lack, that is a place of lack. When you think of, oh, I better control this person, because that's what you're doing. If you want to enter into a marriage contract, basically what you are doing is saying, I need to protect myself from losing you, because now that I have you, I don't want to lose you. So you're really coming from a place of lack when you do that. Because you see, the thing is, all of us want freedom. Freedom is what we're looking for, because Abraham teaches us freedom, growth, and joy. That is what we are all looking for. That's the goal. So when you say, I don't want you to be free, you're also putting yourself in the same prison, basically, because you too want to be free. Hi Rochelle, hi Navera, good to see you guys. So then the next heading on page 140 is, what is the ultimate sensual sexual experience? And so the questionnaire here is saying, what is sexual force? For me, the ultimate sexual experience involves a perfect fusion with another person, communicating on all possible levels of sensual and spiritual and emotional harmony. I feel an expansion of myself in that, like a lessening of my boundaries. And so Abraham's answer is, whether the sexual experience is the reason for your positive focus and therefore alignment with Source, or whether you were already in alignment with Source as you were coming into the sexual experience, it is the alignment with Source that is important. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are all seeking. We are all seeking alignment with Source. That is the end objective. Whether you think you're going to get it through sexual activity, or whether you think you're going to get it when you win the lottery, it's about alignment. Alignment. That is the goal behind everything that we want, behind everything that we do. The goal is alignment. So now the next question, oh, wait a second, I want to read this. The last line of that section is, a wonderful sexual experience is much more about being in alignment with your true creative energy stream than it is about the actual physical interaction. Alignment with your true creative energy stream than it is about the actual physical interaction. Which leads me to a really interesting topic, and that is masturbation. Right? So, I mean, if you're using sexual activity in order to find alignment with Source, then what is the difference between actually having sex with another person as opposed to masturbation, if it's getting you to that place of alignment? Right? All right, interesting. So now the next question is really, really interesting. I love this question because it answers an old philosophical belief. And this philosophical belief is not in all religions, but you do find it in Buddhism, you find it in Christianity, not as a blanket, not all sects of Christianity, but it is out there, and let's talk about it. So the questionnaire here, and to me that is about abstinence, celibacy. Okay, so that's what this question will answer. Is celibacy a better way of living life? Stay tuned. Let me read the question out and then we'll discuss it. So the questionnaire here says, my current mate is very aware of the non-physical aspects of his being. He meditates and wants to be spiritually focused, but he says that when he engages in sexual activity, it is as if he has to become this one small physical personality and don his ego, and that for him, then he loses that sense of the larger psychic non-physical experience. Right? So isn't that what being a monk or a priest, Catholic priest at least, or a nun is all about? Is okay, don't engage in sexual activity because it is lower, it is less than, it makes you downgrade your existence. Abraham says, flawed premise number 20, when I focus upon things of a physical nature, I am less physical. And if ever there was a flawed premise, it is that one. Because physical achievements, physical manifestations, physical acquisitions, they are all manifestations that are proof of alignment. You cannot exclude them from spirituality. So Abraham says, being physical does not separate you from source, and having sex does not diminish your spiritual connection. It's the reverse. Some people, so if you've read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and then in that book, Napoleon Hill actually talks about orgasm as a means for opening up or becoming aligned enough that you allow abundance to come into your life. And at the same time, in the same world, we have a totally different philosophy that says abstinence, because if you engage in sexual activity, then you are less spiritual. You have downgraded yourself to the level of being human, which is very funny to me. All right. So Abraham says the absence of spirituality is not about the subject or activity. It is about vibrational choices that you're making. Because even people who are making the choice to abstain are still vibrating. And they can be misaligned as much as people who engage in physical activity can be misaligned. So that's not the problem. The problem is not having a handle on your vibration. That's the problem. Okay. So, golden words, highlight them, write them down, underline them, memorize them. Golden words. Source loves you, and when you do not, you are not spiritual. That's it. End of discussion. Source loves you, and when you do not, you are not spiritual. You see that all the time. Like, even in those religious circles where abstinence is promoted, if someone who is considered a priest engages in sexual activity, they say that that is not spiritual. And then there are people who engage in sexual activity and they feel bad. That is not spiritual. Anytime you feel bad, that's not spiritual. Source loves you, and when you do not, you are not spiritual. Bottom line, that's law of attraction. That is being in a place of allowing. That is everything that we do. That's what it's all about. So, the other thing is, we think that that growth is about coming into a place of perfection. We think that growth is about perfecting our personalities. That's not what growth is. That is not the definition of growth. Growth is about desire. As long as you are desiring more, then you are growing. That is what growth is all about. It has nothing to do with learning from your mistakes or learning more about law of attraction or learning to be a better person. No. As long as from an energetic point of view, growth is about the growth of your vortex. I have never said that before. But I will tell you, growth is about the growth of your vortex. As long as you are putting stuff into the vortex, you are growing. That's what growth. So growth is automatic because you can't help but live life in a manner that growth will always take place. Because we're always giving birth to desires. Desires about food, desires about people, desires about things that we want, desire for new clothes, new shoes, new cars, new houses, desires. Desires for what we want for our children, desires for what we want for our parents, desires for what we want for our countries and our communities. We are growing our vortices, and every time you put something in the vortex, that is growth. Becoming perfect, that's not part of it. So, Abraham says here on page 141, when you think you should stand in completed perfection on every subject, you are not spiritual. You know why? Because when you think that you need to be perfect, you don't feel good. This is who I am just now, and I am perfect exactly the way I am just now. Hi Selena, good to see you. Alright, moving along. Your very discussion about your mate's feeling of loss of expansiveness causes the temporary loss of it within you as well. Because the spouse who thinks that he should not engage, he or she, I don't know whether it's a he or she, but the spouse who thinks that they should not engage in sexual activity because that is bringing them down from a spiritual level into a human level, which is lower, and you feel bad that that's what they're thinking, or you're calling their thinking wrong or faulty in some way, then now you're both at the same level. So the fact that you're attracting this, you're perpetuating your attraction of this. It's not going to fix anything. Because law of attraction will bring you proof of whatever it is that you think about. So if you think that if there's someone out there who thinks that engaging in sexual activity is less spiritual, then it's law of attraction. It will bring them proof of what they think. All right, really, really interesting question, the next question. The questionnaire says, I've been married 4 times to 2 different husbands. In each case, we remarried, thinking it would be better. It was different, but not better. In each case, I can see now from what you were saying about freedom that these marriages just reinforce my desire to be free. And so now this person, maybe I should just read the whole thing, keep it in proper context. So then the person says, one of my husbands said to me, you're really just interested in romance. And in a sense, that was true. I thought maybe I'd rather be his mistress than his wife. Because in marriage, we are talking about 2 different things. Sexuality is one thing. Marriage is another. In marriage, you've got children, in-laws, property, responsibilities, and duties. Oh my God. I think this is the $1 million question, because I don't know about you, but I have encountered people who have this question. And you know what? Not necessary that people will share these questions, because people are often shy of sharing these questions openly. But you think it. You think it. Isn't that woman better off, or the man who is having an affair and doesn't have any responsibility? Aren't they better off than the one who has the responsibility? You know, jealousy from your spouse having an extramarital affair comes from this lack, this perspective of lack, that I'm the one stuck with all the responsibility and you're out there having a good time without responsibility. Yes, that is, like, I can speak to my own experience, because actually my husband cheated. He had an extramarital affair. So I can talk to this from my own personal experience, that is one of the problems. Is that here I am holding down the fort, and there you are off having a good time. Yeah. All right. So Abraham says, it turns out it is not possible to separate anything from anything, because it's law of attraction. It's about vibration, not subject. So if you start generating a negative vibration about anything at all, that negative vibration is going to affect every single subject of your life. So Abraham says, it is not possible to separate anything from anything, though, because at the core of all those things is you, because of the way you feel and the way you feel. It is not possible to separate anything from anything, because at the core of all things is you and your vibration. Hi, Selena. Yes, Tamika, I agree. I love this book. I think this is a brilliant book, and every person should read it. If you follow Abraham and you have not read this book, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I just think you should. But, you know, that's me. You can do whatever you want to do. All right. Abraham says, oh, no, sorry, I skipped. The questionnaire then continues by saying, that's right, and so finally my desire for freedom dominated so much that in each case I left. I like the premise of life that you identify, of freedom, growth, and joy, but my marriages were bringing no joy. And then Abraham says, can you see in looking back that there were opportunities to look for positive aspects? But because you were fixated upon negative aspects, those became your dominant experience. And, you know, I can say yes, that was exactly me. There was opportunity for appreciation, but I decided that I was going to fixate on the negative. Because how could they? How could they? How could they behave this way? And that was because that's how we are socialized. Society, our upbringing, our system, our social system teaches us that. And so we don't even know what we are doing, that we are creating more, we are doing harm to ourselves. So then Abraham says, the questionnaire then says, yes, but I so dislike the feeling of being hemmed in. This is really important. Listen carefully to this. But I so dislike the feeling of being hemmed in and pinned down and having to perform certain duties all the time that even though I did them and did them well, what I wanted was to be free, to be my own person. How many people do you know? I know lots. I know lots of, especially women, I know lots of women who are so unhappy in their marriages because they feel that they have this role to play and they're doing things for other people and not doing anything for themselves. And it really hits them when the kids leave home and now it's just them and their spouse. And now because they built a whole life that revolved around children, because they're, for some of them, not all of them, but for some of them, they had already grown apart from their spouse. Soon as the children leave home, now it's like a great big hole has been created inside their life that they don't know how to fill. So that's when they start feeling, well, why do I have to look after the house? Why do I have to cook the meals? The children are gone now. Why am I stuck with these responsibilities? And it's all about alignment, you see? Because you're never stuck unless you tell yourself that you're stuck. Then you're well and truly stuck. Abraham says, the actual freedom you were seeking was freedom from negative emotion, freedom from feeling bad, freedom from not feeling good, freedom from not being who you really are. And that is the thing. Because I'm going to speak to women because that's who I work with predominantly, is because these women they lose their own identity in the marriage, in bringing up the children. They no longer have an identity of their own. And so when the spouse is out working and has a life and has friends to go out with, and the children have left home, now this woman feels a loss of identity. And she feels that her only work is looking after doing these chores. And the problem is, the reason she feels this way is because she never built her own self-worth. In all those years when she was being the perfect mother and housewife, she did not build her self-worth. She made her activities about other people and not herself. So Abraham says, your pinned in, not free feelings were about your vibrational discord. Vibrational discord. That vibrational discord is what lack of self-worth is. And that's why regaining your self-worth is so important. And I don't know about you, but for me, it really took a lot of work and continues to be work that I am still doing, is to get to that level of self-worth. Is only work because we lost it. Had we never lost it, then we would have it. But to lose it and then to go find it, that's where the work comes in, which is why I teach. And again, I am truly grateful and appreciative of everything that I have learned from Abraham. But now, because of what I have learned from Abraham, I am taking Abraham's teachings to a whole new level, and a totally different level. And I can tell you that there is such a big difference between pre-manifestational work and post-manifestational work. Once you have already lost your self-worth, what you need to do in order to recover it is way different from if you had never lost it. And so blessed are those people who did not lose their self-worth. And yes, there are those people out there, and I love and appreciate them and want so much to be like them. And I can tell you that even Esther is not one of them. Even Esther is not one of them. So this is work, and it's okay that it is work. It's fine, because as long as I'm heading in the right direction, then all is well. Because I'll get there. I'll get there. All right. Oh, Selena, it is the VORTEX book. It's this book. Here. The VORTEX. This is not the meditation book. That's called Getting in the Vortex. This is simply called The Vortex. And the subtitle is Where the Law of Attraction Assembles All Cooperative Relationships. All right. Moving on. So, Abraham says, you are seeking freedom from the hindering thoughts that keep you from allowing your expansion. It's not about the chores. It's not about you're not being free because you've got these duties to do. It is about freedom from the hindering thoughts that keep you from allowing your expansion. And that expansion, in fact, was made possible because of the relationship that you had. All right. Have you noticed that in terms of physical activity, you are as busy now as you have ever been? This is Abraham talking to this person. And the questionnaire says, I'm actually busier. And then Abraham says, and yet you feel freer because you are no longer focused upon lack. So once this person left the relationship, now she felt free. I'm saying she, I don't actually know if it's a she. They felt freer. And that is because they are no longer focused on lack. So it's about that feeling of lack. That's all there is to it. So Abraham is saying, we are not suggesting that you should have done something differently. We are not suggesting that it was right that you stay or wrong that you go, or the other way around. But we do want you to realize that in every moment, the way you feel is because of one thing and one thing only. The thoughts you are thinking and the vibrational relationship with your opinion and that of the source within you. That's it. It always boils down to that. So, and then lastly, Abraham says, a well-meaning person who does everything in their power to make you feel better is actually making it less likely that you will direct your thoughts into harmony with your broader perspective. And since your feeling of freedom and joy and growth are contingent about your non-physical connection, then anything that distracts you from that important work does not help you. And so this is one of the reasons why I feel that we don't need to fix it for other people. We don't. If you could understand this, then you would understand why Abraham says you don't need to become part of a movement for accomplishing anything. Because when you do that, you are basically saying that people are helpless and that they are not able to do it for themselves. So now we have to band together to do it. And ever since I've learned this from Abraham, I am very conscious of this, that you've got to allow people to find their own alignment. If we keep doing things for people in order to smooth their journey, then we are not allowing them to find their own alignment. And it works that way for most of all, I find, for my children. In my relationship with my children, my first inclination always is to make things easy for them. And my second inclination, ever since I have learned this from Abraham, is to hold myself back from fixing things for them. I don't have to fix things for them. Simple example that I probably shared in my other groups before is my son. I won't tell you the whole story, but the long and the short of it is he had saved his money from the work that he was doing, and he had bought himself a beautiful gold chain for over $1,000. And then he lost this chain. And he felt so bad. He felt so bad. The evening that he lost it and he came and told me, he felt so bad. And I felt so bad for him. And in my feeling bad, where did I come? I came down here on the emotional scale. And then my thought was, well, I could buy him a chain. I can go buy him a chain. It'll make him happy. He's here just now, really depressed because he did something stupid. That's why he lost his chain. So he's beating up on himself and he's down here. If I go and I say, come on, let's go shopping, let's get you another chain, that's going to make him come here. And then I gave my head a shake and I said, no. I'm going to let him find his way up the emotional scale. And what a good thing that I did that, because then after I think an hour or so, I just went to give him a hug and see how he was doing. And we started talking and he said, that's okay, Mom. I've thought about it. It's just a chain. It's just a chain. And you know what? It's only going to take me a very short time. I think I can save enough money to replace this chain in less than a month. So I'm not worried about it anymore. And I came away from that conversation saying to myself, Zara, awesome. Isn't it such a good thing that you didn't jump in to fix it for him? Because he learned, what did he learn? He learned to turn his thoughts around and go back up here and feel empowered. And that happened because I did not interfere. And so it's a very good thing to take the time. Awesome. 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 All right. Let's see. Here we go. Let's go back. So then, this is the last part of this section. So the questionnaire here is saying I was involved in a religion for 3 years that taught spiritual beings do not have physical contact, do not make love. They likened the body to a battery, and they said that by having sexual contact with another, in effect, you discharge and waste energy. And oh my God, there are so many videos on this one thing on YouTube, because it is actually being taught as a strategy for men to become stronger. Yes. So Abraham says, the only way that you discharge and waste energy is by focusing upon the lack of what you desire. Since the source within you is focused upon who you really are, all that you have become, and all that you desire, when you focus otherwise, you lose your connection. So if you are having a sexual experience and you're feeling extremely guilty about it for whatever reason, then the experience is not of value to you. So that's good to know. But the most important thing that I love about the ending of this chapter and the ending of this section is that Abraham offers vows, and they say these are not marriage, these are coming together vows. And whether you are coming together through marriage or just making a commitment to someone, here are the vows. So I'm going to read this out exactly. Hello, friend. We are here as co-creators, and it is my expectation as we move forward in this marriage or in this relationship that both of us will find ourselves satisfied in every way that is possible. It is my desire to discover who I am and who you are, but most important to me is that I be happy so that I may inspire happiness in you. I do not take your life as my responsibility. I take my life as my responsibility, and I am looking forward to a very good time here. I am anticipating that as we move forward in this life together, we will have the ultimate of all positive experiences, because that is what I intended to look for. As long as we are having a good time, let us stay together. And if we should stop having a good time, let us separate, either in thought or in physicalness, until negative do us part. I love it. I love that last part. Until negative do us part. Isn't that lovely? I love it. Oh, what did I do with my bookmark? Oops. I don't know what I did with my bookmark, but that's where we are stopping, guys. Love you all lots. I don't see any questions currently. If you have a question, I can stick around for a minute to answer your question. Other than that, I am going to close the call, and I look forward to seeing you next time. So anyone with a question? No questions so far. All right. You are very welcome, Namera. All right. Thank you for attending, Tamika, Heather. All right, guys, I think I'm going to close the call. Have a super fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.